I'm getting there, girl. I'm getting there,
I'm
and
happy
we
you are.
have someone who's gonna help us to land the ship. We have a special guest, as I shared with you guys earlier. Eric, I want you to introduce this guest of ours. And
Yes.
before you do, I just want you to come here and wave because she can't see you.
All right.
Just
Let
come
me
and
wave.
wave. Msikilizaji, our
Where
guest
is
can
your
only
camera?
see me.
Oh, there
There
you
she
are.
is. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, there she is.
Hi, hi Kenya, hi guys.
So
Lovely
yeah,
to see you,
yeah,
meet
lovely,
you.
lovely to see you too. Eric, do you want to introduce our special guest today?
Absolutely. Good evening to you if you're joining us, and thank you so very much. You've caught us right in the midst of it. We are discussing gender difference in intimacy and emotional expressivity. And on today's show, because we aren't experts, we are joined by Tracy Ziman Jacobs, who herself is the intimacy and a relationship coach. She's based in South Africa. Is it in Joburg?
Yes, we're in Sandton, Johannesburg.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. So she's going to help us suss out this conversation as we go along. And thank you so much for finding time to join us. How is it going? How is it going with the coronavirus? Before we go into the
Yes.
conversation.
Well, you heard from our president last night that we're finally in shutdown, which I actually praise him. I think he's made a very good decision in, actually doing something very early on, well, quite early on in the stages of actually just locking down and getting everybody into their houses and just making sure that we stop the spread of this virus as soon as possible. So how are you guys doing there?
We are good, Tracy, and I'm just happy to see you. I've been watching you all afternoon, and I feel like I already know you, man. And you're such a good sport. You're just fun to listen to. Before you connected with us, we had already started having our conversation about gender differences in intimacy and emotional expressivity. I just wanted to start from the basics, man. Like, how would you define intimacy?
Well, I have been listening to you as well, and I have to say you've stolen all my content. So you
Forgive us,
can go ahead and
darling.
do the show by yourself. Well, as was previously mentioned, is that intimacy is very confusing and confused by many people. They assume that intimacy is about sex or about intercourse, but actually it's really about connection. And yes, it is also about sexual connection. We use it very strongly, as I think it was Barbara who was saying just a few minutes ago, that there are actually 5 different types of intimacy and the way that people express themselves. Sexual intimacy, emotional intimacy, intellectual intimacy, spiritual intimacy, and physical intimacy. So those are the 5 types of intimacy that we discuss. And so intimacy on a more wider screen is really just about connection and how we look for a deeper way of connecting with our loved ones.
And how can men build intimacy with women? Because it seems like, because I was being educated here by Barbara and Eric, and it seems like it's a whole different language. So how can men, like if we can start with the men, how can men build intimacy with women?
So, as previously discussed, it's about communication. Communication is key in every relationship, and a lot of relationships are lacking in communication skills. So, not only do women lack communicate, not only do men lack communication skills, but so do men. Women and men just are battling to communicate. We think that women have it all down wrapped just because they talk a lot. Sometimes they don't manage to express themselves. Men don't manage to express themselves basically because they're out of touch with their emotions a lot of the time. So women can go on and on and on and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk a lot, but really not say what they're really feeling as well. So the first thing is men need to identify what it is that they're actually feeling. And yes, you've been speaking about the fact that men like to sit side by side each other and watch a football game, and for them that's connection with their mates. They like to sit next to their partners and watch TV, or they like to play a game or play jokes on each other in their close relationships. You've also spoken about the fact that men like to talk at people, talk to people, instead of engaging in a conversation, whereas women do a lot of face-to-face talking and looking into the eyes and talking about feelings and things like that. Men find it difficult because they're groomed for the corporate world. Also, going back to caveman times, their goal was to hunt, and they were competitive. And taking it into the modern world, into the corporate world, men are competitive, and they're all about action and about achieving goals. Also, communicative styles among men and women in relationships. If a woman has a problem, or if she wants to talk to her husband or her partner about what is bothering her, she will say, I feel this and I feel that, and she'll start getting teary, and he says, right, we need to do X, Y, and Z. She's saying, I don't want to do anything, I just want you to hear me. And he can't actually come to terms with, he can't hear her, because he is goal driven. That's really where his focus is. So now I would like to take the scenario into the bedroom, even though we're not really focusing on sex as per se, but women are very much about an emotional connection. If he hears me and if he feels me, then I love him, I'm connected to him, and therefore I want to make love to him. Whereas a man is more about, if I'm making love to my woman, I'm feeling more intimately connected to her. So already there's a little bit of this miscommunication here. So what she's longing for is more foreplay, more touch, more cuddling, more holding, more looking into his eyes and expressing emotions. So going back to your original question, what can he do to show her that he's speaking the same language? He needs to be engaging more in this foreplay. He needs to be touching her more, caressing her more. He needs to be talking to her. How does this make you feel? He needs to be spending so much more time on foreplay. So now take that scenario out of the bedroom and into the living room. He needs to be saying things to her like, is this the kind of movie you would like to watch together? Let's try and find something that you and I will both enjoy. If we're going out for dinner, it's not only about his needs, it's more about our needs.
Is that why they eat our food?
I'm sorry?
Is that why they keep eating from our plate?
Because we love you.
Isn't that an interesting thing?
It is, isn't it?
I find that quite fascinating too. Men tend to always find our plates more interesting than theirs.
Yes.
But yes, they like to share. Yes. They like to do things with us.
Yeah.
But, something that I came across that doing my research and thinking about, practically what happens in relationships is women find themselves always having to do what the man wants to do in order to connect, since he's the one who likes to be doing the doing stuff.
Yes.
And it got me thinking, well, all right, we can do that. We're flexible. We can go to the gym with him and then talk about our goals for the future. And we can go and play pool with him at the bar or whatever it is. But where does he then join us?
Yes.
On in terms of, so cooking would be a nice way where the two of you could be standing in the kitchen together making a nice meal and at the same time talking about things that are intimate. So maybe the ladies out there can give us some more ideas as well. I don't know if you're taking questions and answers, but
Absolutely. We do take questions and answers. I think right about the corner, maybe from 9 o'clock our time. That should be 8 o'clock your time, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you so much. I think that's very thought provoking. Just the other day, one of my colleagues here was saying the way he decided to allow choose a movie that the wife would enjoy. Emmanuel here actually. And I think a lot of men don't think in those practical terms that something as simple as a movie that she would like goes a long, long way. I would like for us to, maybe if you can, talk to us a little about what intimacy isn't. All right, especially yes, what it is not, especially factoring in the confusion that normally abounds, especially with men in respect to women.
Yes. So, intimacy is not only sex. So that's something that can be a bit confusing.
Yes.
It's also not a loss of independence or identity. You know, just because we kind of spend all this time together, especially now in lockdown, doesn't mean that we can lose ourselves in this relationship. We need to also be able to have other friends. We need to be able to be intimate with our friends and our families and our work colleagues. And that means being able to go out for a drink with a work colleague, be able to have an intimate conversation with a work colleague without it being misconstrued as being an affair or something like that. Intimacy is not only about me. So it doesn't mean that if we're having an intimate conversation that this is just a one-way dialogue, or should we say a monologue. It's not just about me. It's not just about him and his work and his problems and his, it's not just about him or me. It's also not about bullying your partner into being just intimate all the time. So there's a little bit of jealousy there, that you have to be intimate with me and have to have sex with me all the time. That can be also very, very scary.
Would you say if I want a break from seeing you, you know, the way it's almost across the world, I think, that you could hang out with your girlfriend or your wife the entire weekend, and when you're just upping to leave for work, then they'd frown. So would you say that that manipulation for wanting your partner all the time is not intimacy?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's where we build codependence.
Yes.
And codependence is not healthy. And that is not about intimacy at all. You can go to the gym with your friends.
Yes.
And let's say 3 times a week, and then you can go to gym with your partner.
Yes.
It's about being flexible. It's about being able to think out the box. And out of that box means being able to include each other in different forms of intimacy.
You know what, Tracy, I want you to just hold that thought for a moment. We're going to get into some music, and then we're going to come back and let you break it down for us as only you can, man. We're hanging out with Tracy Ziman Jacobs all the way from South Africa. Lockdown, you know, we're talking about gender differences in intimacy and emotional expressivity, man. This one is a deep one. Please, you have to tell a friend friend to tell a friend, men, wanaume, men, when we finish this, all men, I'm sure we're going to be very deep.
We're not telling women?
No, women too, Barbara. I knew Barbara is going to throw in something, but the women too. We're going to be back before you can say
Rumpelstiltskin.
I just want us to go straight back into it. Eric, you asked a question. Were you satisfied with the answer, or you want to re-ask it?
I was, but I just wanted to quickly remind the listener that we are going to have Tracy for such a short while, but she's willing and able to respond to all of your feedback on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is at totally, yes, totally, TOTALLY, and then me, Tracy, at totally me, Tracy, and we've also tagged it along to our social media, Twitter handle, so you can quickly locate her and ask whichever question you like. So if she will not be able to answer it within the short time that we have with her, she's gonna answer online. Isn't that so, Tracy?
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Yes, and we were talking about what intimacy isn't, and Tracy, you were right in the middle of it, and I actually rudely interrupted you. Do you want to finish?
Well, there's really not much more to it. It's just a matter of not losing yourself in a relationship where you're both partners in this relationship and you're both getting what you want from it. Intimacy is really about connection. It's about communication. It's about getting, as I said before, getting what you both want out of it, listening to each other. Men need to be listening instead of trying to solve problems. Women need also to be mindful of the fact that men aren't always really have the capacity, should I say, to listen for too long like women can. So they should keep it nice and short and sweet, leave out so much fluff, and just keep to the basics. I feel X when you do Y, and they should be teaching their men how to talk and how to listen and how to respond, and understand that men find it difficult to do the fluffy stuff, find it difficult to listen without having to try and fix things. But really what intimacy is not all about sex, but it is about connection in and out of the bedroom. And what we spoke about before in terms of men connecting to their partners through sex is something that is very, very crucial, and women needing to feel connected to their partners in order to have sex.
Tracy.
Yes, Barbara.
What advice would you give to couples to try and find their spark and reignite the fire in their intimacy or in their relationship in accordance to the 5 levels of intimacy?
The advice that I give to my clients is often finding a space that they are both comfortable in. So, for example, I look at all 5 of those areas of intimacy that they can include in their lives, whether it be to a lesser extent in one aspect or more extent in another. Let's take spiritual intimacy. If the couple are not on the same page spiritually, let's say the one is more religious than the other, somewhere they need to find a middle balance, a middle line, where they can both find some kind of spirituality within their relationship. So let's say you have a very religious woman and not such a religious husband, partner. How can they talk about their spiritual goals together, that where the one is not so dogmatic, forceful in their opinions, and that they can talk about what it means to connect to a higher power, so to speak, in that regard. In terms of, let's take another one, physical activity. Let's take gym. The two of them, if one is opposed to gym and the other one loves exercise, somehow they can find a middle ground. They can go for a walk together. They can take the dogs together. They can take the kids out to the park and engage in physical activity somewhere together. If the one is not so opposed to gym and the other one is a gym freak, that's the best way to engage in exercising together, where they can start to talk about a common a commonality around exercising. The other thing that I've really encouraged my clients to do is things around the home, as we spoke about, cooking a meal together, setting the table together, creating a beautiful environment at home where it's less stressful, put on some music, light some candles, maybe wait until the children have gone to bed before the two of you can sit down together and really engage in conversation that looks different from the one that was before, when you were screaming at each other or trying to get your husband to get your attention, or you needed to discuss things for the future that needed to be discussed. If you just change the tone in the home and make it a lot more comfortable, a lot more stress-free, that seems to have really changed things around the home. Mm-hmm. If you also have a conversation, we need to discuss X, Y, and Z, but not make it such a chore. Really create a nicer, sweeter environment at home, and just kind of slip these conversations in, even around watching the news or a program on TV. Oh, that reminds me, we need to complete this task, or did you remember that we need to pay the school fees, or whatever it is. These kinds of conversations don't need to be a fighting match all the time. And I think communication is the most vital form of intimate connection that a couple need to work on all the time. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Is it normal also for a couple to have zero intimacy? Or after a period of time in their relationship, or after children?
In fact, Tracy, there's one of your, a podcast you were doing, I think with Mac, or I don't get the name properly. There's something you said: the more vulnerable we feel around each other, the less intimate we become. And that was so amazing. Would you, like, in a minute, I know it's a lot, but just, explain what you mean by that?
You don't want to answer my question?
It's the same question.
Yes.
Okay. In a minute, I'm going to try and sum this up. When we love too much, when we love a lot, we fear more. The minute I love you, I fear losing you. When the relationship starts to develop from just a fledgling coupledom to a more serious investment into this relationship, we reveal more of ourselves to our partners. We love more. The more we reveal, the more we love, and the more we receive love. The more we invest in it, the more we have to lose. And that's really what happens. So we kind of fear intimacy more the more we love. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to make sense of it, because it's interesting. So you're saying the more we love, the more we fear. Repeat it again for me.
Okay, so I'll give you a very small scenario.
Yes.
When you meet your girlfriend and you're young and free, you're hanging from chandeliers, you're taking off clothes, you are having sex, making love at every single available opportunity.
Yes.
And intimacy there are no boundaries around intimacy. You're doing things together that would make porn stars actually blush.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Intimacy is high and there's vulnerability is very low. You fall in love, you decide to take this relationship to a higher level. You're now starting to get to know each other more and more. She meets your family, you meet her family. You even decide to move in together. Slowly but surely, you're opening up more of yourselves to each other. Vulnerability starting to get higher and higher. Intimacy less and less. Because we're exposing more of ourselves to each other. The intimacy, the lovemaking becomes a little bit less and less and less. And then so children arrive, and there's, God forbid, death of parents, and there's more, life happens, stress at work, this happens. The more we show of each other, the more vulnerable we are of each other, the more we tend to pull away from each other. Then the life cycle of the relationship changes. So does life change. And then slowly but surely towards the end of our older years, we tend to pull together again. And now we're more comfortable together. We've seen life together. Intimacy you become more intimate as the vulnerability is settles down.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for making this time. I think we need like 2 hours, Eric, with this very brilliant lady, man.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so very much. We appreciate you. I hope we do these more and more. Are you going to be available for us, or is this it?
No, please. I'm more than willing to make myself available to you. Just tell me when you're wanting me. I'm happy to be available, especially the next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Most definitely, Eric. We were hanging out with Tracy, who's all the way in South Africa, and thank you so much for making the time. Barbara, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about a moment. We're talking.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Bye.
Tracy.
Say hi to the family.
Yes.
We're talking about gender differences in intimacy and emotional expressivity. We had Tracy Jacobs join us in the last 30 minutes, and we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back, and we're going to share Tracy's handle once again so that you can reach out to her online, and she has 3 weeks, quarantine. So, you'll reach out to her. Thank you, Tracy. It's exactly 9:00.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
It's about that time for us to open the feedback hour. 0719012600. You can use that number to call in and break down what you're getting from this conversation. I'm in studio with my favorite people on planet Earth, Eric, Barbara, with myself, Emmanuel. Eric, can you hear anything out there?
There's tons. A warm welcome to you if you're just joining us. If you're wondering what, who, what, why, wonder no more. We are discussing gender differences in intimacy and emotional expressivity. And we are honored for a fantastic solid 30 minutes to have Tracy Jacobs, who is an intimate and relationship coach all the way in Johannesburg, Mzansi. She was sharing her thoughts with us for an entire 30 minutes, but we are not going to have her here any longer, at least not for tonight. She's going to do other things, but you have the fantastic opportunity to share your questions and thoughts directly to her. It doesn't even have to pass through us. And if you're wondering what our Twitter handle is, it's on our handles on Twitter, but I can repeat it very quickly. It's at totally me Tracy, at TOTALLYMETRACY. So reach over to her and share your thoughts and feedback about the conversation and whichever questions you may have. And I see a gentleman here, a friend of the show, Ken Kimani, says, thank you guys. All along, I thought intimacy was Mombasa Raha. You see?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Ni Mombasa
Ni ile
Raha.
kasi.
Sio kasi ndugu yangu, ni kasi na vitu vingine nyingi. Koech Festus, I'm tuned in from Elkeo Marakwet. Remember to stay safe. Oh, that's very thoughtful of you, sir. Thank you so very much. Ogwe Joel, this show is lit. I'm listening from Mombasa. And Kensi, tuned in from Njoro. Spice FM is all over the place, guys. Hi, I'm Joy, tuned in from Thika. And Nessie, who is also a friend of the show, says, hi, tuned in as always, silently following. Remember, this is a feedback hour. What you can simply do is call 0719 012 600 and ask and share your thoughts on the conversations about the differences in, intimacy between us men and you ladies. And especially, I'm so keen to hear from you ladies. Deno, I see you've just tweeted now. You say, tuned in from Kisumu. The conversation is awesome. Thanks for the wonderful work. We thank you so much, Deno, for listening. Barbara, what are you hearing?
Wong Young Man is listening from Kakamega and is getting us loud and clear. Master Seed is listening from Nyeri. He's saying he's loving the show. Isaac Langat, he said he's together with us from the Nandi Hills or the Nandi County. Mike Roman, he's tuning from Langata. He's saying, I'm enjoying the show and I'm learning as well. Jacob Kavindu. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Tuned in from Ruai. He says, nice topic, asanteni sana. And Christy Britty, tuned in from Langata. Thank you for tuning in.
Christy Britty has a gorgeous name.
Yes.
It's in a rhyme, Christy Britty.
Christy Britty. Laban, Lemayong, Milka, Mike, Vivian, Langat, Victor Otieno, Geoffrey, seeing you, and thank you for plugging in.
And once again, a big shout out to Tracy. You should check out, some of her stuff on YouTube, man. You just Google her name, Tracy Ziman Jacobs, and you're gonna come across a lot of, a couple of things that she's done. And Eric, I was just asking her the question about there's something she said on that podcast that she was doing.
Yes.
She said the more vulnerable we feel around each other, the less intimate we become, and she was explaining it, just before we finished up with her, and she said a very interesting story which connected to me as a married man. So she said that when you meet a lady, you're living in that maybe single room house somewhere. Like me, I remember I used to have a single room house, although ilikuwa na choo na bafu ndani hapo Adams. All right, I moved from Mada into that house in Adams.
Bed sitter.
Ilikuwa bed sitter. So now you move up and you start acquiring assets. You acquire that car, you acquire that bigger apartment, you even grow to a place where you acquire a house. You build a wall around it, and what happens is that the closeness that you have when you were in that room, like it fades away, and now you're in this big house together with this person who you basically don't know. Because life has happened, you're very busy, you've grown in different directions, you aren't working on it as much as you were supposed to, so you drift apart. So what happens? You get a divorce, and guess what you want from each other? You want those things. You see, you want the house, you want the telly, you want the piece of land that you bought.
Material things.
Yeah, you want those material things. So that touched me as a guy who was married. Like, you can actually grow out of a very close relationship when you had nothing, and now you divorce and start now pursuing the things, and that intimacy and that closeness. Let me use the word closeness. That closeness has just flown out of the door, and that was amazing to me.
It is. It is, and. I think then it calls for us to start as we intend to go in regards to the things that we used to do in the beginning. Because I feel like a lot of us get used to how life is, quote unquote, so that we don't know how to always revisit. I was reading this gentleman who was saying that, and I think I've shared here, if I have, forgive me for being redundant, but he was saying that the things that excited you in the beginning, farther down the road in your many years of marriage, if you can, try and go revisit those things, because they are laden with a lot of, very treasured memories and wonderful thoughts. So, for instance, if you would maybe used to go, we were talking about Nyeri back in the day, and you and your wife would have and kamata some serious ndondo in Nyeri in the beginning. 10, 15 or 8 years down the line in marriage, you can say, let's take a drive to Nyeri and go Kamata Ndondo, so that you have fresh reminders,
like a memory
of who you are and where you've come from. And it can go back into reigniting even more intimacy, I think. Yeah.
In fact, it reminds me of the story. There was a day Barbara was walking through town with my then chick, and I met you with that chick, the chick that you had at that time.
Yes.
And we were going to a place to buy chips, both of us. And I remember the chips at that place was going for 20 bob. And you stood there with your chick and raruad. Those days we weren't really close pals, so tulisalamiana tu tukaangaliana. So Eric and his lovely chick were raruing those chips hapo kando with an egg, and then me with my chick also were raruing our chips with an egg, and we were so happy. I was speaking for myself, I was happy. We weren't thinking of, how did we drive to this place? How are we gonna drive out of Tao? So I think along the way as we grow and our desires for the material things in life, they drown out this small things that were really binding us together, and with money not even being in the picture.
Barbara, I have a question for you, and it's a very important question. My question is this: do you feel that because of too much maybe knowledge and growing up, we sort of drift to the things that are not so important and abandon those that are actually matter? You know that saying for, what is that saying for happiness? That best things in life are free?
Yes.
So you see, when you're in campus and you had a lover, you really just saw him for who he was.
It was
And
love,
yes,
pure
and then
love.
when you grow older, then somebody starts saying at the back of your mind that a woman of a certain age needs a car, a woman of a certain age needs to climb the corporate ladder. Then now we divorce ourselves from these things that innately makes us happy, and we pursue things that the world says. Do you think that's the case with this conversation about?
Yes, I want to agree.
Because I wonder if somebody can fall in
Yes.
love and eat chips
And
at 38 the way we did at 21.
I want to agree. When you were talking about chips, and I smiled about it, and I remember when I was in campus, I would go stand somewhere with someone and would eat those fries. Right now, not in a bad way, and it is okay. I don't think that would amuse me if someone was
But the question to me about that is
Yes.
why? Do you think it's because of how we've been socialized? Like, to be
I
very
think
honest,
one-
like if I went now to that, you remember, did you ever go to Red Robin's? Can we say that? I believe
Yeah, I
it's
think
shut.
because
Yes, it's closed.
Ilifungwa.
Hata yetu ilikuwa inaitwa Najmi.
Yeah.
Ilifungwa pia.
Yes.
Sasa hapo Red
Because I
Robin's,
love their pilipili.
unakumbuka ile pilipili ya black?
Yes.
To be very
It used to
honest,
be like
Barbara,
it's
if you
dirty.
took me and have that tipo, naweza sikia fit sana. Maybe not so much on the daily basis, but once in a while I wouldn't care. So do you think you've resigned to that sort of thinking because of society or because of you?
One, I've not resigned myself because of society. And two, just to answer the chips question, there's a friend of mine, we did a surprise and we went back in time for her 40th birthday to one of those chips funny places. She was so shocked. She was like, you guys can't be serious. We enjoyed ourselves, and of course we later on did a different thing, but it was for memory's sakes. But I think what has happened is we want better for ourselves. We grow in a society, like the way you're in grade 1, you want to get to grade 2 with 3. So even while I'm seated there eating those chips, I'm always telling myself, I would want better for myself. I want more. That is what has happened to most of
So
us.
it's matter
So-
of
so-
Yes,
wanting more.
it's not something about
Yes.
what has been programmed or held in our head.
So the question is how to grow like this and to unlearn this thing of how, like you need this and this and this to like the way you're describing, like we desire other things.
Yes.
And
But still
so
holds-
how do you desire these things but unlearn the like you're so tied up now to these things?
I have an idea. The idea is this. It might be wild, but our practices and it sort of works. Balance.
Yes.
That yes, we desire a functioning car. Yes. And for us to get a functioning car that we both want, say we want a bloody nice German machine, and it will cost us 3.5 million. So if you say you and my partner putting resources together to afford this car will take us serious work, we have to be astute for 2 years. Now, the balance comes in so that we don't take ourselves too seriously. When time permits, we do the things that we used to do. So, yes, we work, go back, do the things that we used to do. Work, go back. So you have some time to breathe. For 5 minutes, just say, let's sit down for a minute. It can be as often as every weekend or as often as every month. You remind yourselves about the things that matter. Yes, that is the goal. That's the destination where we're going.
And that's
but
why-
we don't forget the journey. We keep traveling the journey. I think when a lot of things go haywire is because we forget to balance. Anytime you don't balance, you forget and things go belly up.
And then
I think it's just a wild
and then
idea.
also how do we not confuse the like that there are many people who ended up together because of that one night stand in intimacy. You know what I'm saying? So you had a one night stand and it was amazing.
And then there was a baby.
Then there was a baby. Then all of a sudden now
You had to be a good
you're
man.
marrying. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying? So now the question is how to now differentiate between now that one night stand intimacy and now the real connection.
To be very honest, I feel, and not to blow my trumpet, but I feel so much better at my good big age now about the things I know, about how I treat people, than I felt 5, 10,
Yes.
20 years ago. But one of the things you can never take away from experience is that experience is a good teacher.
Yes.
And when you live life and you meet a whole lot of people and you experience different scenarios, it builds your character. So your character is more formed and refined than when you are younger. A lot of times we make hasty decisions because of folly of youth. I think the worst thing anybody would ever do, and I would say this standing on the highest mountain, is to marry somebody because of that sheer feeling of love and at a stupid age of 21. I really, honestly while I respect that there are people who've gone there. In fact, somebody said, Barbara, that
What if she
marriage can
tells
last.
you?
Marriage can last when you are stupid. Somebody says that.
I-
Somebody said that. Yeah, when you're stupid.
That is true.
Yeah, because you have such low expectations, so it can last. But when you grow older, like Barbara has all these caveats, so do I. It's like,
Yes.
okay, we'll do this, but we are going to do this, but we're going to do this, because our
Because of
personalities have
land,
concretized,
yes.
you know? So I feel very strongly that you want to wait a little longer. If you're listening and maybe you're 24, don't rush and make permanent decisions because of a temporary feeling that I went...
The breathing feeling.
Yeah, that, oh my goodness, he just looks at me and I feel...
Kabaracha.
Yeah, those kabaracha things. Oftentimes they're nonsensical. So you want to divorce yourself from that.
Yeah, speaking of kabaracha, Barbara.
Yes.
I was having a discussion with my wife once, and she was saying the way, like when you meet a guy, it's a bit different because instantly ukimwona uko ready.
Unajua kama ni yeye.
No, not at all. You're bodily ready. Like you're so connected during the initial days that when you see this guy that you love, your body responds.
Your soulmate.
Yes.
You ready for what? Coitus?
Yes.
All right.
But now when you get deep into marriage, there are new things that you have to do to get her body to respond and to do things like lubricate. We're going to talk more about that when we come back. We have some climax coming up right now. We are the adults in the room. We're talking about gender differences in intimacy and emotional expressivity. We're going to pick up a couple of phone calls back to back when we come back. 0719 012 600. This song was sung by Barbara Mbaka, who wants good loving.
Oh, yes, I do.
Barbara, you do not want mediocre what?
Sex, mediocre men, and mediocre relationships.
Man, Barbara, you
It's
make me happy.
2020.
Climax with their hit jam, Good Love, bringing us to 19 minutes past 9 o'clock. We are the adults in the room, and the lady there was Barbara, the Duchess of Ikolomani. Is Barbara the Duchess of Ikolomani?
Yes, darling.
And I'm in studio with conversationist par excellence, Mr. Eric Omodi Odworasa. How you
Tutambukiza
doing, my brother?
corona. Usifanye-
Niko salama salmin kabisa.
Eric, you should check out a guy who works for a media house called Neil Nunes. Huh?
All right.
He reads the news and he has this very deep voice from
He has
the
a
Caribbean.
diction. That,
Unamjua huyo
yes,
jamaa?
yes.
Ah, but-
There's actually a gentleman here, Mr. Wesonga. You know Wesonga. I saw you
Yes.
speak to him yesterday.
Yes.
Yes.
So he met me at the restaurant and he said, Eric, give me a minute. And I was very busy.
Yes.
So I turned with my I'm busy look.
And we know that. look.
You know that look? And then I saw, of course, he's way older than I am and I respect him. I thought it was some youth.
Yes.
Nianze kukasirika nikimwambia aende huko. So he said he was very kind. He's been at Standard Group for many years.
Yes.
And he said, I listened to your show on Friday.
Yes.
And I have a few submissions to make. One, the diction. Oh my goodness. Eric, the diction is fantastic. And I enjoy Emmanuel's, Emmanuel is cool. Very cool guy. Barbara, unajua, Barbara ndiye anachokora kabisa, sindio? I enjoyed. So he said he passed his regards to you guys.
Yeah, big shout out.
Asante sana.
Kasema anapenda show sana. But I saw him speak to you yesterday. I'm sure he conveyed.
yes, he
Did he
also
convey the same?
Yes.
Mbona kutuambia?
No, he just told me he enjoyed the show, and we
All
were
right.
going on air.
Oh, so you rushed him.
So I rushed him.
Akusema
But
stories za
today,
Mumbi ni producer?
Hakuona Mumbi.
Hakuona.
Unajua
Okay.
alikuwa anasikiza
It was
show.
actually his
But
first
because the
time.
show was ilikuwa inamwagika with fluidity.
Yes.
Sasa Mumbi hiyo pia ni compliment.
Yeah.
The only thing he said, Barbara, he said that he wishes, and I think I'll tell Mr. Tom Japani this himself. He says he wishes at the top of every hour after Emmanuel says,
Yes.
this is Spice FM. Kukuwe na mtu ana sura mzuri. That's his words.
Yes.
He says, not that sura yetu ni mbaya, but he says that mtu, you guys all have TV faces, but someone with equally good diction. Asome news. Unajua mimi kama Mluya anataka news.
Yes.
he
Sasa
actually
useme-
told me that. That is what he said. And I was like, I'll get back to you. And I rushed to the studio.
Yes, so alisema anaweza taka news. Kila saa moja anasema, and on Spice FM today, His Excellency the President has said the following.
Sasa hapo ndio
Then
Neil Nunes anaingia. Yeye ni jamaa wa news.
fantastic. So you've talked about new units and I remembered. Anyway, a warm welcome if you're joining us. We're discussing gender differences in intimacy and emotional expressivity. And remember, you're part and parcel of this conversation because at adults in the room, we don't speak at you, we speak with you. And you can do this via Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Our handle remains the same on all social media platforms. It's at SpiceFMKE. Remember the hashtag AdultsKE. It better helps us to locate your feedback. And I can locate so many of your wonderful minds. Mandegwa S. Kenneth, I love this gentleman's feedback. It's always concise. He says emotional responses in men and women link relationships. Women express emotions, share personal feelings, relate stories, and listen empathetically. Emmanuel, you need to learn to listen empathetically like women. Not that you don't, I'm just saying. Learn to listen empathetically, whereas men engage in competitive joking and assertive speech to win control of the conversation. I cannot agree more, Mr. Mandegwa. There's a bunch of acquaintances I used to know in Langata. They used to engage in competitive. Cheki wewe kwenda wewe. So I'd be like, are you guys fighting? Cheki kwenda wewe, wezi niambia hivyo juu ya Mourinho. Ai, toka hapa. And they're like 47-year-olds. And that's how they talk.
Wow.
Imagine daily. Cheki wewe toka, mimi ndo kuambia juu ya Atelo. Atelo anapiga ganduki. So yeah, Mandegwa is right.
It is Madegwa.
Huh?
It's pronounced Madegwa.
Madegwa, yes. I beg your pardon. K. Madegwa.
Yes.
There's no N.
It's Lunje, so that's why.
Right.
Yes, Lamandengwa.
K. Ezra says, great topic. Intimacy is a broad thing, not bedroom matters only. Emmanuel K. says, I learned that today. Thank you. Tuned in to the very end. Thank you so much, Kay. Biological father or Fidel, he says, Spice FMKE is becoming my school. I am learning new stuff daily. You just are amazing. He's listening from Eldoret. Brian Valentine says, always tuned in from Nakuru, taking tips. Just keep dropping the gems, he says. Thank you so much. And Tracy says, Tracy, who we are talking to, says, thank you so much. She's enjoyed herself. And more of your feedback coming. Barbara, what are you hearing on the Facebook fear?
Caesar Masharia says he's tuned in from Kirinyaga, Yukondani Sana. He's enjoying the show and he's learning as well. Makasi Makafu Adabu says he's tuned in from Kiminini. People have very interesting names. Carol Nimo says, I'm loving the show. Milka Mwangi is tuned in from Kiambu. Asante Sana. Daniel Kamau, the only legit, authentic talk. Adults KE.
0719012600. That's the number to call to participate in this conversation. We're talking about gender differences in intimacy, and I'm picking up your phone calls back to back so that you can call in and just share what you have to say.
All right, absolutely. Emmanuel, before you pick a phone call, I think there are some practical ways about which people can cultivate togetherness, or known as intimacy, that I think I'd like to share. Other things you can do to cultivate togetherness or intimacy is, as our dear lady said from South Africa, do chores together. It would be cooking or just cleaning, but try and do chores together. So this weekend, as your wife is cooking, unaweza piga duster, alafu ya anakausha vitu kama hizo. Not Emmanuel, huyo mtu mwingine pia mnasikia. Emmanuel, mnakuaga na mop nyinyi?
Tuko na mop.
Sawa.
Unajua mambo ya watu jamani.
Nimemuuliza, sijasema. Help your partner achieve his goals or her goals. This is another way to achieve intimacy, Emmanuel. Say I have my homework. I read a very interesting tweet. A lady said that she was writing a thesis, and her husband went and read an entire dissertation similar to what she was doing and came and helped her in the thinking processes of writing her thesis. So you see, those are guys who are super intimate.
Yes, true.
So you don't just have to remove your penis when it's firm and erect for pounding sessions. You can go and read a whole dissertation and help with ideas, not just your penis.
Is it good to... are you done? I have a question about reward.
No, you can ask the question.
Like, should we expect reward after...
No.
What reward?
Okay, not expect in that forceful sort of way.
What
like,
reward were you expecting?
Anticipate.
No.
For someone to hold your banana? Look at yourself.
No, that's terrible.
That's wrong.
No, listen.
Please slap yourself.
I have done an action which I know you love. Kama juzi nimeenda nika-select movie murwa sana ya
uliriwadiwa
ule demo wa Kitengela. Sasa hapo baadaye she cannot also
expecting
after listening to this conversation, she can't say, this guy at least he made an effort, watch him reward.
Let me tell you
Mumbi,
something.
that sound for the cow. This is the part you can play on my behalf.
There's expectation, Emmanuel, breeds disappointment, and then the other thing expectation denies you is the willingness to do from the heart. So I feel like if I did something to you from the heart without expectation, it's better than me doing with expectation.
So you're talking
at the
about
corners
intention.
of my mind. Yeah, so the intention has to be pure, Just come and say, Emmanuel, I thought to gift you a pen. So it's not that you let me speak first. No, I just gave you a pen. That's a more purer place to give from than a place for utacha niongee kwanza.
But if
I
you
now understand you, Eric, when you
Barbara.
said, Emmanuel, you need to be more empathetic and emotionally vulnerable. Because you should not be expecting. Now I understand what Eric meant by
I'm
that.
saying, Barbara, if
You cannot
if
be
you
expecting.
sense that, and intent is amazing, Eric, that is amazing. If you sense that the intent is good, this person has done this thing with a good intent. One of the ways to develop further
Why can't you just do
intimate moments is also to tit for tat.
No, I don't think so.
I'm even
I
shocked you're
you know
using
what
that
I would
word.
communicate in regards to
Because you're always against it when I
Let
say
me-
it.
No.
let me tell
You see where I brought it
No,
from.
that's what I'm saying. I'm very shocked you've actually
If
used
I've
that
brought
word.
it from a place of good
Emmanuel,
heart.
it is like,
No.
this is the idea. Tenda wema nenda zako.
Sasa
Unaelewa?
niende zangu na
No,
nini?
listen. It is the same analogy.
mwami ambaye
Do good to
But
others.
now
Don't
you are doing
expect-
it for Omwami.
Yes. You're doing good for
Omwami atalala atakaa tu hivyo.
Omwami alale.
No, don't.
Omwami
Oh,
asi-expect
don't-
kila
don't
siku
do that,
matunda.
Emmanuel. That is a very
No,
bad
that's-
thing to want to do.
that
I
is
hope
not
you're
even bad,
joking
it is
because
bad
you can really
manners.
hurt. I'm sure your wife is texting frantically right now and ninakuhurumia sana.
I
So
don't know
I was
what
sharing
to-
things you can do to cultivate togetherness in intimacy. I shared that help your partner achieve their goals, and it doesn't have to lead to you getting
Some.
coitus, as Emmanuel was propagating. This is very big for me, and I believe Emmanuel and many people, even you, Barbara. Face your problems as a team. I remember sharing here before, I think many moons ago on one of our past shows, that every time a problem arises, a good couple stands against the problem together and they don't stand across from the problem.
Yes.
So that if I'm dating Barbara, the problem does not put us asunder. We go against the problem as a team. This problem includes money, Emmanuel. Now the way you're married, your wife would look very bad if she asked for money from somebody without your approval, because you are a unit,
Yes.
So if you guys are deciding to say come and ask one of your relatives for money, it's something that you have to agree upon, or whether or not to do it or to do it, So even difficult times, like you've shared here very transparently that your wife has been with child and you lost a child.
Yes.
During such times, that is not the time for you to go to Coastal to swim. That is the time for you abandoning all your stand-up comedy, even Spice, and just sitting there next to one saying, you know what, honey, we'll go through this together.
Yes.
Most men now take a friend of mine was telling me a sick story about a guy whose wife complicated some challenges while giving birth, and the guy took off. That is a
I've
stupid
experienced that.
man.
Very sad.
Yeah, Paul Sana Barbara, you've shared with us as
Yes.
well. No man should do that, and no man is deserving of any woman who does that. So face your problems together. That is a way to show intimacy. You want to develop a private, spiritual, or religious world together. Very important. I like what she said, but I can't emphasize, Barbara, that yes, we can both be Catholics, but kama mimi sikulagi sakramenti juu siendagi kanisa, ukatholiki yetu itatukatia.
Usikuwe kama Emmanuel wende ukule na useme
Yes,
asante.
so we have to be at par in terms of religiosity, so that if you speak in deep tongues, if that's your thing, I could also be able to speak in deep tongues, or working towards that. But si ati mwingine ako Misri na mwingine ako Israeli. And then finally, choose a new interest to pursue together. I like this. I remember one time I was dating now my ex who lives in the United States, and she decided to dance. And I was so removed from dancing. And those were the tail end of our relationship. So if maybe I'd have joined, taken up an interest in dancing, maybe tungekaka.
Were you guys dancing sukus?
She was dancing samba.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So I think those are some of the practical ways. If intimacy is far removed from you, you can just today, even something as simple, Barbara, as reading a book I'm reading. That is a wonderful thing.
Yes,
and then we
yes.
can have very deep conversations. Like I remember a woman once saw a book I was reading, and then she was like, what did you think of just X saying Y? Check it, Mimi. You read it. So I felt quite excited.
Yeah, she picked your interest.
Yeah, she picked my interest.
Just to add on what Eric is saying, I have two things that I think you can also add on. One is open your mind and your heart. When you open your mind, I know this can sound very cliche, but it gives you the willingness and the willingness to do anything for your partner. Most of us will be like, yes, Eric has told us, try and cook a meal or do something nice. That is the part, do things that you're not normally accustomed to doing. So just open your heart and your mind. And the next one is build comfort and security. That is an issue of trust. Most of us forget, for us to be intimate, I need to trust you. I need to be able to share with you my innermost feelings and sometimes be vulnerable. I can only do that if I trust you.
Is mind opening also meaning, say, to divorce yourself from, say, cultural beliefs and traditional ways of viewing your sex?
Yes.
I think because
and also being able to compromise on certain things.
Yes, because a lot of us, Emmanuel, are really stuck up with our socialization about how we were brought up. So that my tribesmen don't do this or my clan doesn't do this. Siwezi shika mtoto, wacha alie huko akufe.
Mama yake
Lakini mimi, no, mama yake yuko anakupikia ugali, but mtoto ashikagwi na wanaume. So I think unlearning some of these very, for lack of a better term, stupid cultural
Be ready
practices.
to open your mind and heart.
You know, in regard to sex being part of intimacy, because it is part of it, right?
Yes.
There's something that I heard Tracy Jacobs saying, and I agreed with it. It's only that we didn't have enough time. I would have asked her. She said when she's doing her, because she's an intimacy coach, when she's meeting her clients, one of the things that she realized is that black men don't give enough time when dealing with a woman's body. And I feel like that would be a great hindrance to intimacy because you're in a hurry, you don't have education, so you just want to smash and then you dash.
In a hurry to get to Nazareth.
Yes, Maze. So she was saying, black men, and I would have told her to talk to us as men, because unaona hapa Kenya tuko wengi black people. Sasa I wanted her to share more about that, but I agreed in terms of spending time.
How are you doing now in terms of spending time?
Yeah, I've improved, Maze.
How are you doing in terms of knowing the body? Are you still at 45? I'm on 70.
I think sahi niko labda nimegonga 80.
Clap for yourself.
No, siwezi jipigia makofi. That would be pride.
No, that's good. Because to be very honest, those black men, I used to be, because now, because of obvious reasons, I used to be. I would
time
not.
guy?
I would spend like almost zero time.
All right.
I was one of those guys for dashing in.
Yes.
And
Finish line, Manelo.
yes, and because then I acquired education about first myself and then about the partners. And I think in the later years of my sexual life, those partners looked quite happy. Yeah, they were very happy. But
Yes.
I would echo her sentiments because for the longest time as a black man, I don't know if it's race related, but again because of culture, because a lot of me rose. A lot of mirrors come from, as cultures are very similar, Barbara.
Yes.
Like Uluyani is very similar to Jangos and even Kikuyus and Merus and so on and so forth. There's all these doctrines we have to espouse, As a Meru man, we do not do this. As a Luo man, we do not do this. As a Kikuyu man. So divorcing yourself from that and just understanding that this is a woman who needs this done.
And this
I
is your
think goes a
partner.
long way.
And speaking of women who need something done, she talked about how the modern woman knows what she wants. It's not that society for Kitambo where she just, kufa mende, let you finish and, just go on with marriage. How she wants a specific way of being treated.
Yes.
Even in the sack, she wants to be touched in a certain way. She wants you to turn her in a so you're dealing with an educated, in quotes, woman
who is self-aware.
Yes, who's self-aware. So now if you're trying to be intimate with a formula for the 60s, you're going to hit the wall.
Barbara, one time I went to see this girlfriend of mine, I think 4 years now.
Yes.
And we were having dinner and then we went over to her place. Then she said, I have some condoms. And my silly self
You
could
are in
not have
shock.
it. I was just like, sasa condom unafanyia nini?
Mwanamke wewe.
You see, and this is just
Like
4 years ago. 4 years ago. So me, I was frowning that he has condoms. Yet having condoms is
The
a very-
judgment guy.
Yes,
Yes.
the judge and,
And
like,
it's not
and I was
only
very
Eric.
upset for like
And
an hour.
It's not only
I was just
Eric.
like,
It's across the
unafanyia
board.
nini condoms? Na mbona umeniambia?
If you want to chase a man, in fact, women always say, if you want to chase a man, make sure buy a packet of condoms and make sure he sees it. He'll run away from you.
So this woman
It's a Kenyan thing.
Oh, this
They're
woman,
good-
Barbara,
yeah.
opened her drawers and she had maybe easily 50 condoms. And then she just
50.
like, this is sent.
Look at him,
At
Manuel.
least
Alikuwa anaziuza.
Look
At
at him. Oh, Manuel.
At least-
doesn't-
no, the reason I'm telling this story is because...
You see, those are the comments
No, I'm
that
kidding.
women.
The-
You're kidding, but these are the comments that men give to women.
Yes. You see, this
Yeah,
woman,
you're right,
this
bro.
woman is sexually aware, one. and then give it to her for protecting herself.
Yes.
She's safe. So yes, maybe you forgot your condom, but I need you. I want.
And she
What she
even
was
knows
saying
the
is,
type she wants
she
you
was
to-
saying, "What I want you now, but don't worry, because maybe you are not ready and you did not have a rubber. I have it sorted."
Mama's ready.
But now mimi na kufura hapo naanza kujiambia sasa wewe.
Sasa amelala
So
na
it
watu
had,
wangapi?
yes, it had to take a lot of talking to me and just reassuring me for me to
Even
calm
that girl
down.
had
In
patience. I
fact,
would chase
finally,
you.
just to finish, because nimemquote sana, nimetumia material yake
No,
sana
that is
vibaya
very
sana.
good. Yeah, that is
She
good.
said the word slut. You see, the word slut, she has an acronym which she gave. She said a slut would mean a sexually liberated, upward thinking woman.
All right.
Sasa unaona huyo wako mwenye alikuwa na hizo equipment.
Emmanuel, how would you
See,
feel supposing
equipment,
you're
ni
not dating?
condom.
Let's take it back.
Don't be scared
Let's
to
take
say
it back
I know
for
you
5
get scared.
minutes.
Let's take unapenda barua.
Let's take it back for 5 minutes.
What is wrong with that?
Supposing you went to now your wife when you're dating and she had a whole bunch of rubber, how would you react? Like
Now,
honestly,
back
Be
in the day.
honest.
back in the day, yes.
Yeah, obviously
And then now?
mbio hapo
Now?
Mata Road nikiteremka.
Now,
Now she has CDs.
She Look at him. Eric, that is the typical reaction women in town.
No, unless
no,
Jackie,
moment.
unless she
Emmanuel.
calls me and tells me
Emmanuel.
why.
No. Emmanuel,
She's bottom.
just hold on a moment. Eric, that is the typical reaction women get in this country.
That's true.
If you are caught with a condom, if you are caught looking at something.
Now, after
yes. No, I'm just telling you, naturally, that is how men
That is so
actually
funny.
treat women in this town.
Yes.
If they are single, they expect us
If
to be
they're
Mother
single.
Teresa's.
yeah.
Then, after some time, you expect me to be a tigress in bed. Excuse me. Some of these things people need to learn them. And we all know. Can we stop feigning?
Emmanuel, why do you
conservativeness?
think men frown at the sight of a woman having condoms?
See, they think maybe they're too sexually.
Just say what you think. It's
They're
authentic.
sluttish,
Yes,
for lack
yes,
of a better
yes.
word.
So
Which
they
is
think,
sad, isn't it?
But it's sad because this man.
And let me ask you,
how
when we
many
find you with
sessions has he
condoms,
had?
do you know we don't think like
Yes.
In fact,
I wonder,
maybe
by the
you
way,
have,
what
like,
do
finished.
Barbara, what do women think of us when we have condoms?
Two things. You're very responsible because majority of you start saying, "Oh, nimesahau.
Yeah.
My
Imagine,
God,
such a
I, we,
different thought
I'm not
process.
going to do anything."
Yeah.
You know, they'll give you tricks
Yeah.
of how they know how to withdraw.
Yeah.
So one, that's a very
Saizo, and they want to have sex with you the first time.
The first time, and he doesn't have
That
the
is
rubbers. And he's behaving like
And he's
that.
telling
So
you
if you
at,
find a
nilikuwa
man that is
kitovu.
responsible, then number two, you'll know that enyewe alikuwa amekupangia. Okay, I'm just being like,
All right,
you're
yeah.
like, this nigga must have planned all this. You know, so it is up to you to decide whether you want to move on or not.
And
But our
if you
first-
find
and-
in a man's drawer, if you find a lot of lubricators, what would you think?
I wouldn't think anything. I would think he has a wild side. And to be very honest, that will be exciting. I'll be like, which side is it? Kindly share.
But
Yes.
Emmanuel, you found a
You do
lubricator.
know Pinocchio?
Pinocchio, no.
Pinocchio unajua alikuwa akidanganya mapua inakuwa ndefu.
Your point being,
I wish there was a Pinocchio
No.
movie hapa.
No, I think that's fair.
No,
but-
but bro, you're sure.
I think
Unasema
I
tu
don't-
sawa.
what?
Kama kuna
I-
wipa, kuna choka nini.
No.
Hizo whip itakuwa
Wait,
excess.
Is it now or
excess.
later? Or
It is excess.
Is
No.
it now that you've grown or
No,
back in the day would you have
Emmanuel, I have not been, I'm sorry to use this.
No.
I've not been, what's the word I'm trying to use? I've not been very shy on certain things because I come from a family and a society where people are different and I have learned to accept people's differences. And then also I have come to, because I have brothers, I have cousins, and also my dad was very forward about some of the things. He would tell, especially my cousins and my brothers, walk with condoms. So for me, finding a man with condoms, it is not a shocker. Unlike you, who would think I'll have a Pinocchio nose and it will
No,
go
I
long.
think that was said in
yes,
a
that is a
live-
joke,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm trying to say
yeah.
that. There are people know. And when you find a man with condoms, it is actually responsible.
You know,
most
Barbara-
men escape this thing. They want to have live sex with you on the first date and they're not even prepared.
You know,
Yes, I'm saying it.
You know, Barbara, why it's intrigued me is because I've met a lot of 22, 24-year-old women who actually have condoms and they don't quite frown when a man has condoms. But a man who is 24 or even 54 will frown when a woman has
Exactly.
condoms.
Yeah,
and we
that's
use
all.
that trick to chase men away because we know.
Oh, right. It's
Yes,
actually
that is
a
what I'm
trick.
saying. Yes. If
Nah,
I know, for
sasa
example,
akiwapa-
I want to get rid of Eric. make sure you have a packet and he sees.
Just one or
Serious?
50.
Even if you have a whole, even if you just
Yeah.
buy a packet.
But then that
because
chick
the
had a
man-
lot of condoms.
Yes, the man will be like, she's loose. She's seeing someone else. You know, a lot of things run into a man's mind and he'll go. It is the easiest and the fastest way to lose a man in this
But
town.
to be honest,
But what if you
today,
then go-
let me tell you something, Emmanuel.
Well, I'm
wait,
going to look for another, but it works.
Emmanuel, let me
Another-
tell you.
It has worked for me. I've tried.
To date, even now as Eric,
Yes, you'll be shocked.
those were
Utatoka
many
mbio.
condoms. No, it's not a talker, but there were many.
Yes.
My question
Maybe-
is just like
It-
they're
it is
all
how
your
you-
condoms. Like now,
You thought it
like now when we are done, you are still going to use them.
Yes.
That's what was lingering
in
in
your
my
head, you're
mind.
thinking like.
So do you think that's a judgmental posture?
It was a
It
judgmental
is.
one, but then we actually ended up
when
dating
we
for
find
a
you
year.
condoms, we don't behave the way you do.
We ended up dating for a year, and she threw them away because it used to really bother me.
It would freak you out.
But she had to drag me to voluntary counseling and testing, so that now we can assume
You can
other
be
sexual-
comfortable.
But yet there were many. There were like 76, which I found
Maybe
were
she
many.
used to sell them.
No, but let me tell you something. I saw once a video online of ladies stealing condoms from a dispenser.
Yeah.
You know, like when they're offices and
Yes.
all that. So they'll take and they're being asked, why are you always taking? Can you buy? They're like, as much as I'd like to go to a counter to buy, I'm always judged by the person on the other side of the chemist or the pharmacy. So they'd rather get
Oh, free condoms.
free
than
condoms.
buying one.
That's why you'd find them with a lot of stash.
But I think
For some of them, but those who know themselves and they're not scared about it,
Yeah, you should-
go
it's
to
a-
a counter
it's
and
a
say,
very- it's a
and
protective
choose the
measure.
flavor, choose the type. Is it studded? Is it smooth?
Do you have a lot of condoms, Barbara?
No, I'm not
Do you
practicing.
have any condoms?
No, at the moment I don't.
When you're practicing, do you normally have condoms?
When I'm practicing, I will have that. But
How many?
when I was using that.
How many? Like, would you have like 30 condoms?
No, I would
in
not
your
be the
drawer?
one to buy. I'm very open about it. I'll be like, go and buy. See that one? Yes. I'll be very stern with you. Because you also need to know, as I said earlier, if you're not very careful, a man will just come live like that.
Oh, shame.
So you also have to protect yourself.
But the take home from this conversation is, as brethren, we have to, as the brethren right here who are listening to this show, we have to take time when dealing with a woman's body, Eric, because we are dealing with a different woman than the ones for the 60s who are not so expressive, as Barbara has clearly made it very clear right here. We are the adults in the room, 94.4 Spice FM. I promise when we come back, guys, I'm going to pick up a couple of phone calls, 0719 012 600. Some star points coming up right now. One more night. Man, I'm one of those 80s guys, for sure. I've converted. Nilikuwa mtu wa 90s, but now I'm an 80s guy. And we're going to keep playing this music for you. At 10 o'clock, there's going to be music all night long. So guess what? You don't have to touch that dial, man. Eric, there's, a photograph Mr. Tom Japani sent during the day to our group hiyo yetu ya watu wanafanya kazi hapa Spice. And he said, someone said in that group that they've discovered Spice FM and they love the Situation Room. They love the adults in the room. And, they've never changed that dial since they discovered this amazing resource.
That is very kind.
Asante sana.
That is very kind. There is Remy Kipchichi who shares the same sentiments. He says, Spice FM, learning a lot about intimacy and emotional expressivity. It's something that a lot of men need to hear. But to treat and handle both genders, I have learned women require men to open and share, but it takes two to tango. He says, this is the second time I'm actually listening to the show. Still, I'm learning on this area, and there are some things I was still not aware of. This is Remy Kipchirchir. Remy, karibu, welcome to the family. We are the adults in the room, and it's good to have you on board, man. There is another gentleman here who was saying something. His name is Jefferson Ngozi. He says, men are territorial in nature, but as time goes by, I realize that a woman who keeps condoms is confident and safe with her sexuality. Let them keep you, never know when it's cake time. I think let them keep the condoms because you never know it's cake time. Mtume Salamu, I'm a great listener. Thank you so much, Jefferson, and I share with you the same sentiment. Lakini Jefferson, kama 4,000 hivi pia ni sawa tu, I guess.
Eric, you exaggerate.
But bado yenyewe
4,000 anauza, ye ni vendor.
But even you, Barbara, if you came to my house and we are starting to get to know each other and you found 800 condoms, you'll look at me some type of way.
I'll ask you. I'll be very honest, I'll ask you. What is so wrong?
Yeah, you're like into
And
so
women
many
ask
condoms.
questions. The
So
only
labda
problem with the
ni period ya quarantine.
So
by the
anatumia
period of
condoms
quarantine,
mingi
I
sana.
hear
In fact,
shops are running
guys
out.
should really stock up, eh?
But
during,
let
this
me ask you,
period.
why are you buying? When you are you quarantining?
No,
with
maybe you're
someone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
supposed to
maybe
be self.
No, maybe you're with your significant
as in
other.
social distance.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
you're-
now you mnaingiliana kabisa but with hizo
by day 2 itakuwa imetupwa mbali. Cheki hapana, wachana na hiyo.
Tunajuana.
0719
cheki nikiangalia hizi macho zako white. Wewe ni
But
mtu
you know
kusema tu kweli hizi macho zako white. Wewe ni mtu unaweza kuwa uko na upele.
In fact, they always say,
Ati
imagine I tested
tunajuana.
2 months ago.
0719122600. I'm picking up your phone calls. Let's get right into it right now. Spice FM, hello.
Hello.
Hello, Spice FM.
Hello, Space FM. Habari bana. Eric na
Poa
Salama.
sana. Huyu amesalamia Kahepa.
Oh.
Triza.
Yeah,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
How
What
are you?
about
I am very well, thank you. Say hi to Eric and Barbara.
Eric?
Yes, Triza, how are you?
Hi.
Very well. Where are you, Triza, today?
Today I'm at Katika.
Katitu.
Yeah.
All right. What are your thoughts today, Triza?
Yeah, I didn't listen to the topic because it was raining heavily.
So you've just called to say hi?
But yeah.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. Say hi to everybody else.
Yeah, say hi to everyone else. 0719012600. We're picking up your phone calls back to back all the way till 10 o'clock. We have 7 more minutes, so you can, be one of the people who have the last word. Spice FM, hello. Hello. Hello, Spice FM.
Hello,
Hi.
we are talking to Varian from Haero.
Oh, karibu sana.
I just wanted to say hi to you.
All right. That is really kind of you. You're well?
Hapo Ahero mmekuwa quarantined.
Sana.
Mmeambiwa mkae kwa nyumba. Watu watembei wakienda hapo Kibos, wakiingia hapo Riat, wako tu kwa manyumba ama wanatembea?
Kwa soko tunaenda tu.
Soko bado mnaenda. Asante sana kwa kutupigia.
Spice FM, hello.
Hello.
Network, my brother. Please call back. Alicia.
Yeah,
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Are you in Langata ama ulitoroka Nairobi?
Niko Tasia sahi.
Oh, Kotasia.
Elisha
Yeah.
anakuaga Tasia na Langata. What are your thoughts today, love?
Topic zimekuwa poa like all of them. The conversation imekuwa poa. I've loved it. I just want to tell you guys good night.
All right, that's
so-
very kind.
Thank you, darling.
Good night as well.
And keep it up.
Asante.
Thank you so much, Alicia. The love goes right back to you. Let's talk to Tasha. Tasha.
Hey, hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm back now.
You're back. Eric
Tasha
was
from number cafe.
Eric was asking me for your number. Sijui where is Tasha's number. Ulienda wapi?
His phone hanged. He
am
lost
back
your
now.
number.
Hey, Eric. My
Hi.
the
Hi,
big
how are you?
boy.
Our relationship was just for kidogo tu, ikukuwa kitu ya kulast.
Acha nisicomment on
Kuna mtu
air.
hapo.
Thank you so much for calling. What are your thoughts?
Okay, I'll just calling to say hi, guys. I'm back and I'll keep it locked from now.
Thank you. Karibu sana.
Cough if you like, Eric. I'm kidding.
Kuna mtu hapo. Blink if there's a man next to you.
Eric, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, good night.
All right. Thanks for calling, Tasha. Let's talk to Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you guys?
Very well, Jennifer. Where are you
great.
today?
Today I'm in Kiambu.
Kiambu, karibu na river ama tu uko kwa barabara?
Uko denie.
Oh,
Ndani.
then. Oh, all right. Karibu. What are your thoughts
What's
today,
up,
Jennifer?
Barbara?
Hi, darling. How are you?
Fine.
Thanks for plugging in. What are your thoughts today?
My thoughts are actually I have a question. I just need you guys to kindly, if possible, you do a recap of the way men express themselves emotionally. Hiyo tu.
The
So I
way
say
men express themselves. You had a question for
No,
Jennifer?
I just wanted to tell her to tune in onto YouTube.
Yes.
Unataka ende www.youtube alafu aende hapo Spice
Angalia
FM
hapo
Kenya.
Tomorrow.
utaona. Unaweza rewind usikie tu polepole.
Yes.
Hakuna mtu anakusumbua.
We'll be loading the show by tomorrow.
Hautaki kumpatia kionjo? All right, Jennifer, you've heard it. You can check out the conversation and get the recap from there. Spice FM, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, you guys. I've been listening to this. Is Grace.
Yes, Grace, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Nyeri.
Nyeri, wasi wa Nyeri wanakuwaga wasupu. Wewe ni wa huko Mkureini ama hapo tu katikati ya tao?
No, a place called Wamadana.
Wamadhana napajua kabisa.
Mina
Thank you
Mwega.
so much. What are your thoughts today?
No, but today I want to say anything. Just wanted to say hi to you guys.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Say hi to everybody back home.
Yes.
Yeah, big shout out to Grace. Unajua Nyeri kabisa.
Nyeri napajua sana.
Unajua wapi Nyeri?
Sana. Najua Mkureini. Si Mary Nyabuda wa Nyombo alikuwa na Mkureini.
Mary wanyumara wa nyumbani nye girlfriend yako ile mwingine.
Nilikuwa nafikiri unatuhada.
No, najua sana
Mimi
Mkureini.
najua tu Mwega.
Unajua Mwega hapo katikati
I have friends from there and I always visit.
Na Nyeri wanakuwaga na chai iko na maziwa mingi by the way.
Kama
unataka chai
kondo
thick.
tamu.
Kondo.
Yeah.
Ulienda Meru kula Nyeri kula
I
kondo.
do have friends there. I've gone there for Christmas 2 years ago. Yes.
Mimi najua hapa International School of Kenya is area.
Wewe hakuna mali unajua nyamaza hapa mtu wa Bon Town.
Barbara, what are your parting shots?
My parting shots are the different ways to express yourself and be intimate with your partner. Look for your language or seek that from your partner. Find out what makes both of you tick and what both of you can enjoy. Remember we said, build some trust and be open your heart and your mind to new things.
I think as a married man, I want to learn more. You know, this is a very wide conversation and I'll dig in and learn more because if you apply even 2% of what you learn, it makes a big difference, Eric, in your marriage and it's actually noticed by your partner. So I'll keep digging in.
In the very wise words of the late Dr. Miles Monroe, he said only brilliantly as only he can that if you improve yourself by 1%, you'll be better than 99% of humankind. So this was one of those conversations that require that we do better. Upon knowing, let's now do better.
Don't forget in the morning what's happening, Barbara, at 6 sharp.
At 6 a.m., we have the Situation Room with CT Muga, Eric Latif, and Du Oko. And at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., we have Monique, the honey voice, and that is the Spice Drive. Then at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m., we are back, the adults in the room with Eric Omondi, Emmanuel Kisiangani, and yours truly, Barbara Mbaka, a.k.a. the Duchess of Ikolomani. Thank you to everyone who's plugged into this conversation, and thank you for everyone who's streamed live. Tunasema asante. Keep it Spice FM now and always.
And remember, the conversation is going on, and our guest's handle
Hashtag.
at Totally Me Tracy. If you go to that handle on Twitter, you can continue with the conversation. A big shout out to you. Thank you so much. You're the one who makes this show possible. On behalf of Mombi and Brian, who are backstage, they make us look so good. Have a very good night.
Mwah.